Hi, Cole here. So I woke up today and my friend from Oregon sent me a very funny message that I wanted to show you real quick. So there's a little thing that we got. Here it is. It's called the cheese printer. It says to create beautiful meals for your family, just say cheese. And if you look here, you can see that the issued ID goes into the little device there, which is the cheese printer. And then you end up on a piece of cheese between two pieces of bread right there. Cheese printer. Gotta have an ID, put it in there, squirts out a cheese, and then boom, right there. Make some fresh cheese with your face ID, or your ID, or your identification, your face, right there on the cheese. So I wrote a story a few years back called Catnappers, which I'm gonna play for you right here. A clique of Haltom kids venture out in the middle of the night in a mysterious wooden area following a small creek known as Fossil Creek. Catnappers. The Fossil Creek Mysteries, Episode 1, The Catnappers. They're catnappers. So anyway, that's me reading from a story I wrote called Catnappers. And my friend, who goes by Scro, at least he does on Facebook, got a hold of me and sent me that message about the cheese printer. And he's actually in this story that I wrote a while back. The character that he's in is called Dijon. And you can actually find that story on fan fiction, and it might be on Fiction Press too, under my pen name, Ash Cole. But anyway, here's the actual reading of some of it right here. Just a boy hanging in a tree. It's about a clique of boys. It's kind of what I always tell people is it's kind of my version of Stephen King's The Body, also known as the Rob Reiner film. I think they changed to Stand By Me. It's kind of my version of my childhood at that time. But anyway, I just wanted to start that off because that's that message that I got sent that I showed you. It was from him, and I'm going to be heading out here real quick. So I'd like for you to join me. I was going to say shall you, but that's already been taken. So I'm still thinking of what I should say next, but come along with me. Yeah, it's kind of chilly out. There it is. So that reads 39, but it's actually 34 degrees. I don't know what it feels like. I got a little snow warning on my car. I don't see an ounce of snow in the sky. But yeah, my friend, he goes by Scro now. We had a whole little clique of boys that lived in Haltom. We had like, I don't know if I'd call it a gang really, but it was just like a group of boys that hung out. We just did these crazy things. It was stories kind of about all these adventures that we'd go on, dressed up like ninjas and all this stuff, you know. But anyway, I wrote the story. I think I sent it to him, and he sent me that cheese printer thing. I'm headed out now. I remember when I was in college and I went to Texas Wesleyan, I remember having a psychology professor that said the friends that you make when you're like 11 and 12, you usually keep some of those friends for life because of the bond that you go through and all the things that's going on with you at that stage in life. It's actually a true thing. They've done studies on it, social research and things like that. So people will keep their friends that they make at usually like around 11 or 12, sometimes for life. So it's a pretty interesting study that they've done. And I can't remember the psychologist's name when I took his class, but he actually showed proof of it, statistics and things like that. And that's probably one of the reasons why Scro and I will still communicate, because we had so many adventures when we were younger and things like that, you know. And you don't really lose friends like that usually.
There is a profound fear of doing the right thing for their children. Carolina Aguilar Restrepo.
It's interesting that there's a gun show on the radio.
Search for Gunplay wherever you get your podcasts.
It actually says Shotgun Blast.
Many eligible.
Just an interesting thing, you know. As the radio was playing a thing about guns, I'm passing a thing. I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. I don't see any vultures today either. They're usually perched right there on that electric tower. Don't see any, but I'm sure the birds are hovering over the pond. So I think those columns are really cool looking. That area right there kind of looks like Venice Beach. Little apartments. Hebron Station 121. It's pretty cool. Looks like the trial is on the radio right now.
Nothing. Not a thing. You knew it was happening. The attack was on TV. He was our commander-in-chief.
This one's going to be a tough one to prove. I mean, is one person responsible for another person's actions? I don't know. We'll have to find out.
The destination is on your left. Arrived.
Them using various other weapons to bludgeon their way in.
At the light, turn right onto Business US Route 121 North.
Quickly in that clip, because the insurgents had broken through the barricades and had entered the building. And as these armed insurrectionists banged on the doors, members of Congress were...
These kinds of things I'm actually quite concerned about. They're the enemy of what I do right here. So we're gonna probably...
They rifled through your desks and they desecrated this place. And literally, the president sat delighted, doing nothing to help us, calling one of you to pressure you to stop this.
One thing I noticed, a lot of apartments will have their own flag.
The crowd was chanting in unison, "Hang Mike Pence." outside the very building he'd been evacuated from with his family. Didn't know that his inflammatory remarks about his vice president would result in chants of hang Mike Pence. By 2:15 p.m., he surely knew. The attack was all over television. They were doing this out in the open. This was a vice president whose life, whose family's life, was being threatened by people whom the president had summoned to the Capitol.
You know, it's a good thing that the president at that time didn't say hang Mike Pence or whatever. It's a good thing he didn't say that in his speech. So they're really going to have to analyze the speech to really get everything correct. Sounds like they're really going after him.
Would not normally air this on NPR, but as it is part of the evidence in the impeachment trial, we are airing it. More video of the rioters walking through the Capitol, spliced up against members of the Senate, exiting the chamber just feet away from where the rioters have been.
So it seems like they're going to have to really focus on exactly what the former president said that day. They are focusing a lot on the unrest of the Capitol and what the protesters actually said, which was the difference between what the former president actually said. So they have to look at everything and analyze, you never really know the intent or motivation of a person, not even through a speech. That's something I've studied. But I guess the main thing that they're going to have to break down was it an emotional speech during the time, or was it an actual direct order to create unrest? Then it's even going to be harder to prove it through the subtext, because only he knows the subtext. They don't know what he really meant. They never will know. Only God will know. But ultimately, I think that they're focusing more on what the protesters were actually saying at that time. And then they had someone with a bullhorn talking or something. They're inserting a lot of theatrics in the courtroom, which there's a lot of drama in the courtroom, which you're learning from this actual, what I'm learning from the live stream or the actual trial that's going on right now live. So this is pretty interesting.
I want to bring in congressional correspondent Chad Pergram, as this is just all developing right now. Chad, I understand the Capitol is now on lockdown.
This is additional video from that day. Some of it is the Capitol security footage.
Think about that for a second. These folks were not peaceful. They were breaking windows, pushing.
In 3/4 of a mile.
At 3:06 p.m., Rep. McCarthy.
Tell these folks to go home. Well, they eventually went home, that's for sure. Or they tried to, some of them. I don't know, They said his tweet of the former president saying, stay peaceful, wasn't the same as telling them to leave the premises. But I think I remember him saying go home. So this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a very tough one. I know for sure he didn't ask anyone to hang anyone, so I know that didn't happen. So it looks like it's just a protest that's gone wild. But I don't know. We'll have to see. To what I call the second church, Chick-fil-A. Just in case you didn't make it to church this Sunday, it does count if you go to a Chick-fil-A. It's not in the scripture, though, but anyway. Oh, kind of does the boogie woogie, kind of doing the boogie woogie dance, just boogie woogieing along there, just doing a little thing there. Hi, everybody, how you doing? How's it going? Oh, well, that's wonderful. 1950, a man named Harmon started the one and only Whataburger. First restaurant, Corpus Christi.
Go ahead. Hey, respect law enforcement. Why don't you just...
We do, you ass, and we still do. And we want the people who attack that line, that blue line, to be prosecuted. And we want Black Lives Matter when they attack...
Capitol Police. President Trump was reportedly, and I quote, completely.
And at 1:48 p.m. on the right-hand side of the screen, we see once again the breaching of the Capitol, the smashing of windows at the same time.
Anybody hurt? It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where
QAnon shaman Jacob Chansley.
we won by sending a message to Pence, okay, that if they don't do as their oath to do, if they don't uphold the Constitution, then we will remove them from office one way or another.
This individual was also arrested following the attack.
I suspect you recognize that man. You'll hear him say that we won the day. Who won the day? We know that at least 5 people lost their lives that day. The House and the Senate were in life-threatening danger. Well, who won on January 6th? That's not a win for America, but it is a win for Donald Trump unless we hold him accountable. Now, a little over an hour after that video,
What are they talking about stopping the certification? Stopping the certification of what? Was somebody getting certified to do something? Just, I'm trying to figure this out.
Inciting it, but this is...
It is different than inciting it, but their incitement argument is not about that day.
They played a lot of surveillance video from inside the Capitol.
Why do they get into all these big fancy words, like they really look up the etymology of these words anyway, and like what the words really mean, and then all of a sudden we have to listen to, the certification, blah, 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 this. And I mean, come on. It'd just be easier for all of this if they just spoke in layman terms. Like, this is what happened. He made a speech. Everybody got all crazy. Come on. Come on. If this happened in a school ground, some guy gave it like a political speech, and then everybody broke into the principal's office. Come on. The people that are going to be held accountable are the people that did it, the action. Look at the actors, or the action. Don't look at the actors. Don't look at the actors. What I mean is the look at the people that did it, not the person that gave this passionate speech, which is probably what he was supposed to do. I don't know. We'll find out.
On the prominence of Vice President Pence in the events, saluting him as a patriot, thanking him for his courage, and repeating time and time again that he was an absolute target of the mob, and for that matter.
Tomorrow we will continue our coverage of former President Donald Trump's impeachment trial. I'm Susan Davis.
And I'm Scott Simon. Sue, so good to be with you.
As always, Scott.
And this has been special coverage from NPR News.
cancel culture, they call it.
The cancel culture threatens the very principles.
Cancel culture is a real thing.
People are tired of the cancel culture.
The term cancel culture has been overstretched.
And after arguing over the constitutionality of the trial itself yesterday, today...
You ever seen that Matthew McConaughey True Detective? I always think of that every time I go into one of those things. Actually, the first True Detective with Matthew McConaughey, that was actually really good work. Really like that one. It's kind of a creepy situation. You got a guy kind of walking back behind there, or he was. Now he's standing. You got this creepy house right here.
The destination is on your right. Arrived.
Wonderful. Food for friends. Thanks. Notice that house kind of looks like a house that'd be in a movie, or kind of creepy looking. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my imagination. That flag right there is actually not at half-staffed. Maybe they went back to normal. We are approaching my ex-mother-in-law's favorite restaurant, the Golden Arches, known to some people as MacDonald's or McDonald's. Got what's for dinner? We got breakfast. Take off with a tasty meal, and spicy is back. You're welcome. So I've been asked to park in the Uber Eats spot, but I can assure you I do not work for Uber Eats. I had once in the past and got assaulted at a Burger King. Decided to move on and find something else. And still delivering food to friends. Pulling into Meadow Run and making a right-hand turn coming up here pretty soon. Lansdowne or Lansdowne. I noticed these really cool looking lanterns right here. Aren't those neat lanterns? Lady was really nice over here, and this is a really interesting neighborhood. You know, she waited for me to walk away and everything, and then she opened the door, got everything, and said thank you, you know, while I was in the car and everything. She's a really nice lady. Sure, it's taken them a long time to make sushi. Everybody knows what that is. It looks like jalapenos, but I don't know what I guess those are like flower petals.
The kingdom even after.
I've noticed that a lot of American malls are pretty empty at around this time. Malls are losing their popularity. Looks like a pet got lost. That's a big flag for a front yard. You know, I don't know. We'll have to find out if Trump did it or not. I really don't know what to say on the matter. I mean, if he actually gave direct orders for everyone to do what they did, then it would have been pretty obvious. But we'll find out pretty soon. It's been on the radio all day. It's like listening to like a exciting football game or something. But it's amazing that went on just a few moments ago in time. This isn't the first time a lot of political party protesters have gone wild, but there's been some records broken this year in the White House, so we'll find out. Other than that, if you don't know about my channel, please subscribe. Also, I'll leave some information about my PayPal in my description. But I do thank you for joining along today. It's been kind of a wild, crazy day. And I gotta do a few more little segments. I'll get back with you. If you are gonna get something done, you really do have to do it yourself. I mean, even if other people encourage you and inspire you, you really do have to do it yourself. You have to take action. I mean, I've never been able to get any of this footage and the story to you if I didn't simply take it into my own hands to go out and get something done, to do something at this point, right now. I think that's the message that I'm trying to give tonight. Is you have to begin to take action. And that means, like, if you want to tell a story, you have to tell it now. And there's ways that you can do that. So today has been a pretty rough day, but we got through it. I'm headed back right now, and I stopped by QT, you can tell by the red, and I got myself a hot dog with lots of garnishment, or garnishings. I don't know if garnishment, look that up, see if garnishment is actually a word. If it is, leave it in the comment, let me know. Garnishing the hot dog with several things like pickles and relish and stuff like that. And I'll see you in a minute. Once more to the breach, my friends. Once more to the breach. Was that Henry the Fifth or something like that? Anybody knows, leave a comment. Sometimes people do Shakespeare a little bit different in different languages and things, but it's once more unto the breach, dear friends. Once more unto the breach. I believe it is Henry V. But like I said, if you know, if you're a Shakespeare fan, in the comments. Until the next segment. Well, that's the night. Thanks for tagging along. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a big thumbs up. And welcome to my humanity. Have a good night.